Hi there, my name is Cupicate, and welcome back to WolfQuest. We lost Seraph, and I've been able to recover from that. I actually just got done recording a video that will actually release next week. I had planned on making the pup reveal all in one video with going over previous pups, but it ended up being so lengthy that I decided, well, I need to backtrack and end up recording just the pup reveal of this litter where we can go over the pups that ended up surviving past Seraph's death. And so y'all will have a video next week that probably the intro doesn't quite make sense. Hopefully I can cut it where it makes a little more sense. But yes, there will be a review, a pup review video of past litters and of a very special pup named Theo that Snow knows all about, that I ended up deciding to grow up from a litter that y'all never saw because I would really love to write a story for him, for it to be a true blank canvas where y'all don't really have much to go on except for one or two experiences from my own playthrough of him and making a story for this wolf. It'll be a challenge, but I cannot wait for y'all to watch that video and to hear what y'all have to say, but that will be next Sunday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at these beautiful pups that Seraph got to love and nurture in her last days of having litters. So first, we are going to start with Molly, who did end up getting the Cinderella coat. I didn't really expect that, but here we are, another Cinderella coated pup, which seems to be pretty popular actually. It isn't as rare of a coat as I thought, but it is one of my absolute favorite coats. So let's take a look at our tiny little Molly, who is indeed the runt of the litter. So she did actually get the Cinderella coat, as you can see right here, 42F Cinderella. She ends up having kind of a silverish green eye, but I kind of like it with the blueness of her coat. She honestly looks like water running over rocks. She's so beautiful and petite, so petite. Let's listen to what she sounds like. Aw, she has one of the lonely howls. Oh, they're both lonely! She has some of the loneliest howls you can get, although I like her little smirk. I don't know why. This particular coat makes her look like she is absolutely smiling. Look at the little grin. She did not end up getting any modifications just naturally, but that doesn't mean we can't give her some. So because she's a runt, she might have had a rougher time of it and actually have some things like a torn ear or a torn tail. I even like the idea of her having a short tail since she's the runt. Maybe her tail didn't quite grow out all the way, but I kind of want to leave some of those things up to y'all and what you think Molly would have in her customizations and modifications. So because she is the runt, she has all negative stats. She doesn't have a plus to anything. She is not strong at all, which is what makes her so small. She doesn't have as much stamina, so she's not going to be able to go for as long. Her speed is pretty moderate, but that's probably because she's so small she can at least keep up with any regular wolf. But she isn't very healthy either. She is a true runt. But we could possibly do the runt challenge with her, y'all, which is super exciting. I love the idea of doing a runt challenge, and she has potential to be the wolf we play for that. I do remember Molly being kind of meek, and I don't think that she stood out other than being meek. I even think she might have been slightly bullied a little bit out of getting food, which is what made her the runt to begin with, is that she just simply didn't eat enough. I even think I remember her eating last sometimes. And so with her meek personality, I wonder if she'll keep that into adulthood or if she'll be determined to be more of a strong wolf despite her stats, despite her size, despite the fact that she gets so tired. I would love to see a wolf overcome it because I don't know that Aurora did. I feel like even though she was also meek and quiet, she ended up just kind of falling back into that, even with Aries at her side, because he kind of took everything over that she couldn't do. But I would love to see a wolf just try everything despite of their physical aspects. And then we have Leonard, or Leonard, however you prefer for it to be said. I actually like the way Leonard sounds, but I have heard that it is pronounced Leonard. So this wolf has one of the new coats from the DLC pack from the Beauteous Blacks. Beauteous Blacks? It is the little tea coats, which I think we might have predicted at some point. But our big boy here did end up getting some beautiful green eyes. Absolutely beautiful green eyes. I absolutely love the green-eyed look on these wolves. It fits his coat really well since he is so brown. And then let's look at his house. All right. What is tint? Ah, very nice. He has some pretty powerful sounding howls. So Leo here might actually end up being a very, very strong, commanding wolf. But does that mean he will take on Seraph's duty of passing on? Or will these wolves end up kind of doing their own thing? Maybe they don't follow their mother's path. And that's why Teo is truly the only hope of the word actually getting spread, is because a lot of these pups didn't hold on to that. And maybe the pups in this last litter didn't, because Seraph ended up dying before they officially grew up. And now I'm sure Rollo did try and teach them, but did he have the same passion for it that Seraph had in her last days? I don't know. It looks like he didn't get any customizations either, but that doesn't mean we can't add any. And as for his stats, he's pretty standard. He does have a little less stamina and a little more speed, so he's a faster wolf. I'm not sure we've ever played a faster wolf, so that might be fun to play one that's a little more speedy and see how that affects gameplay. I don't think I've ever played a wolf that had a plus in speed. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. And unfortunately, as I'm kind of going through these wolves, I'm realizing that I was so focused on Seraph in her last days that I didn't really get to pay attention to these pups. And maybe that's a part of the reason why these pups may not follow the belief that Seraph spread to them and to Rollo, is because she was gone quite a bit. And even though she loved them and she played with them while she could, like I am having significant trouble remembering some aspects of these pups, because I think Seraph was always out trying to spread the word to Crevice Lake, who was pretty violent as a pack. And so maybe these pups won't remember her as well. And therefore, if they get chosen, they may have their own story. They may keep their pack name, they may not. There may be a whole nother pack that we start possibly under a different name that they choose. I'd love to hear your ideas for that. If you have any ideas of what a pack should be called, and if we should start another pack that kind of just goes on its own path, has its own goals. It would be great for the saga to be out for this, but I'm not going to complain too hard. The devs are doing their best, absolutely. What would Leo's story be? Would he follow Seraph? Would he not? Would he do his own thing? Would he even really remember her at this point? Much of her anyway. I'm sure he remembers his mother. Like, you never forget your mother, but does he remember much of her? Does he remember the things that she said, the things that she did? Other than a white wolf caring for him and feeding him and loving him while she could, does he remember anything beyond that? And will that affect his life? Any of these pups, will it affect their life? Oh, Aslin, look at you! So Aslin does have another one of the DLC coats from the Beauteous or Beauteous Blacks, the 1276F Third Mother coat, which is so pretty! Oh my goodness, Aslin, you are a beautiful boy. And he's got deep, rich amber eyes. Look at this gray flecking. Oh my gosh, whoever designed these coats did a great job. They're so pretty. They're so pretty. All right, Aslin, let's see what you sound like, bub. I think 12 has been pretty common in these litters, so I wonder if there's a gene that's causing their vocal cords to have 12. Let's try 7. 7 is one of the shorter howls. I actually haven't heard a 7 in a while, but I really love that howl for Aslin. I almost imagine him being maybe quieter. But again, like, I was so focused on Seraph in this gameplay that I didn't really get to pay attention to the pups. So I'm really hoping that y'all have some grand ideas because I just don't. But I don't know. I feel like he would be... I could be wrong. He does have a little bit of a mischievous look to him, but looks don't always mean what they are. You know, never judge a book by its cover sort of thing. Somebody could look wild and crazy and be the most introverted person you've ever met. You never know. But that's why it's so important for us to write stories for these wolves, because it doesn't always become obvious. Even when they're pups and you are paying attention, it is not always the most obvious. And because you can't actually see any of their personality traits because it doesn't show you, I kind of wish it would show you and it would just lock the bar where you couldn't move it. But it would really help if it would show you some of the personality traits so that you could kind of morph a wolf's personality based on the set personality traits, because it says they're already set, they're formed as a pup, but we can't see what they are. I kind of wish they would change that. I might actually suggest that if I can make suggestions to the WolfQuest dev team, because they do it for like this. These are locked. I can't adjust these at all. And so I'd be really interested to see what this ended up looking like for our pups in the future. But Aslin is not very strong at all. Not at all. Oh my gosh, he's quite weak actually, which is very interesting that he ended up being so weak. His stamina is pretty much par with every average wolf out there, but he's a little speedier and has a little more health. So it's possible that his speed and his health could make up for that horrible strength stat. I don't know if we've ever played with a wolf that had a strength stat so bad. Not that bad anyway. Maybe a -1, but not a -2. I wonder how that affects gameplay. So Aslin could be really interesting as far as gameplay goes, but I really want a good story to push forward with him. And last but certainly not least, we have our adorable boyo who has clearly gotten himself into some trouble, Pumpkin. So Pumpkin has one of the Life is Rough coats from that pack. There are actually 2 lines of that. It looks like he got his face kind of scratched up a bit, including his eye. He's got a pretty bad eye scratch right there. It might be fun to actually make that eye possibly blind or missing. I speak about this in the next episode you'll see next Sunday that I've actually already recorded, where I've always wanted to play a wolf that had a missing eye, and I had to actually cover that eye with either a post-it note or an eye patch, so long as the eye patch is not considered offensive. I would love to try that out with me having an eye covered, whether it affects me at all or if it does actually have a substantial difference in how the gameplay goes. So let me know if you're kind of interested in that, but I do adore little Pumpkin. I don't know if Pumpkin would carry on or not as far as the spreading of the ways goes, of the old ways goes. I think that if Pumpkin did, it would almost be like an absolutely horrible experience. Pumpkin kind of seems like a jokester, like funny boy to me, and so if he went up to somebody, he wouldn't have the seriousness that it took to actually speak the truth or talk about the old ways, because I mean, look at that smile! He looks so goofy! Oh, but he's so sweet, just like a pumpkin. Oh my gosh, your face! You got really messed up, bub. You poor thing. That looks like a scratch from a cougar, potentially. That could possibly be a part of the story. But having that missing eye, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool to play with that challenge. So let me know what y'all think about that. So let's see what Pumpkin sounds like. So kind of a higher pitched howl for that one. Oh, and then my favorite howl. I love this howl so much. This is one of my favorite howls. Oh, Pumpkin. I would love to play you, bud. But again, would Pumpkin take the Ovarian Pack name? Or would Pumpkin go his own way? Like with all of these pups in this episode and in the next episode where we do a pup review of some of the previous litters that Seraph has, would any of these pups actually go forward and take that path? Or with Cricket's involvement with taking some of the pups away and discouraging them from following Seraph because Seraph had a bad breakup with Cricket, essentially. Or with Rolo having to raise these pups without Seraph and not having the same veracity in preaching like she did, would any of these pups even continue that? And I'm starting to lean towards no, because the goddesses specifically pulled Seraph away to take care of Teo and to save Teo, almost as though Teo was truly the last hope of the ways getting spread at all. And so maybe none of these pups do because it was meant for Teo. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about that as well in the comments. I know that I'm asking a lot of things. I hope y'all can keep up. I'm so sorry. But I want to know, would they? Would they want to? If they do want to, would they be successful? Would they know what to say? Would they know where to go? Would they know what pack to start with? All of these things are questions that could lead to great stories for any of these pups. But we only get to pick one. Maybe two. Maybe. But for now, guaranteed we get to pick one. Is it just me, or does it look like Pumpkin has a crooked tail? Hold on. Pumpkin does have a bit of a crooked tail. Pumpkin must have gotten in a really, really bad fight. Like, really bad fight. Because that tail is indeed crooked. My goodness. That could be really interesting in his story. So I'm excited to see what y'all have to say about that. It looks like Pumpkin is not as strong, but is a faster wolf. I love all these fast wolves. I want to play a fast wolf. That just sounds like a blasty blast. But other than that, Pumpkin is pretty standard. One minus in strength is nothing. If we're really worried about it, we can always add it when Pumpkin has his birthday. So that is all of the pups, unfortunately, that we get to look at from this litter, since 3 out of the 7 were lost. Well, y'all, like I said in the last episode where we played Seraph, it was a really good run. It was a great journey. It was cool to finally experience the loss of a wolf, because that was my first time. I know many of you have experienced that already, and probably more than once even. But that was my first time, and it was heartbreaking, but it was also exhilarating to know that I had played this wolf, Seraph, to the fullest extent. And there was some glory and some satisfaction behind that, seeing that she had a great life, even through all the tragedy and the struggle. There were good parts. There were amazing pups that we got to raise. There were good times. There were times of laughing, times of anger, times of sadness, times of play. And all of that got to be experienced. And even though it is gone, we can't experience it again. The memory is still there. Well, I hope you liked this video of the great reveal. If you did, give the like button a tickle and a poke. Subscribe to join the family if you haven't already. We love WolfQuest on this channel. It will always be here. I hope you don't get bored of it, because it's not going away. Unless something happens and the game is like, nope, you never get to play again and the devs remove it. We are never ever going to stop WolfQuest. Also, feel free to join Discord. We often have WolfQuest discussions on Discord, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, the link is in the description below. I love you guys! Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week with that pup review video. And then hopefully when I get back from Texas, we will have a wolf talk about Seraph, about some of these wolves, and have a big poll that we all vote on to see who will get picked to play in our next series. I love you guys. Bye.